San Francisco is now looking to drive people away from congested streets by considering transit fees for drivers who enter busy areas during rush hour. They would have to pay more. The proposal includes a $6.50 base fee for people who make more than $100,000 a year, while lower income drivers may be eligible for a discount. May be eligible. Here at Reaction is California gubernatorial candidate. He's a Republican, Major Williams. Major, good morning to you.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me on.
You know, they've been considering this congestion pricing here in New York City for a very long time. It sounds like they could actually be closer to it. But the problem is there are a lot of people who drive into cities who can't afford this, and it's going to make it too expensive for people to drive.
No, I agree, and I'm going to take it a step further. There's going to be unintended consequences when it comes to this, because imposing this type of tax, and I call it a tax, they're trying to spice it up by calling it a fee, but imposing this kind of tax is going to limit business, local restaurants and shops, which have already been burdened for an entire year. So you have to question, like, why is this, and why is it those areas that are most desirable that people would like to travel to?
Sure. So, Major, you're absolutely right. It is a tax squarely aimed at people who make more than $100,000 a year. So I'm sure they're just thinking, you know what? People who are rich can afford it. But $100,000 a year in San Francisco, you are not rich. You are getting by, but you're not rich.
No, absolutely. I mean, if you look at the medium there, San Francisco is one of the most expensive places to live and also work. And so it's not even considered, middle class if you're making $100,000. So the fact that they're doing this, in addition to taxing it on to Lyft and Uber drivers as well, as I was looking at the story, it makes no sense because people make multiple trips and multiple stops in those particular areas. So you have to beg and ask the question, like, who is it for? But at the same time, you have to look at fairness. And we're dealing with enough right now. And California is the epitome of what's wrong with a lot of Democrat and liberal policies.
Yeah. What do they need the money for that they're going to spend it on in San Francisco? I mean, right now, San Francisco is very famous for cable cars and homelessness.
It looks like that they're trying to see more homelessness, because if you go throughout San Francisco, that's essentially what you are going to see. So instead of trying to figure out ways to tax the citizens more, I believe they should use the money that they already have in place to actually fix up, San Francisco in a more meaningful way in fixing their homeless crisis as well.
Yeah. You know what, Major? Maybe this is just their way of trying. They're gonna jack up the price. You want to drive your car, you're going to have to pay this additional fee. Maybe they're just trying to convince people here in California, people should not drive cars.
Well, they're always using these narratives in regards to why they're doing something or why they have to tax you more. So now it's about congestion, air quality, and also traffic. But really, it just comes down to it being about money, because even with the money, they're not defining where that money is going to go or what it's for. So.
Yeah. Well, let's see what happens. Major Williams, he's running for governor out in the Golden State. Sir, thank you very much for joining us live.
Thank you for having me on.
You bet.